Well, hello everyone. Sandy B. Stitcher here. Happy New Year. I hope everybody is doing well and started out the new year on a bright note and had a happy Christmas and all the stuff that goes along with it, family and friends, etc. I'm here to do probably just a short video. It isn't really planned out. But sometimes that's how it's been, that I have to get my videos in. The angle here is just a little bit funny, but it's a way that I could get that bright light that it wouldn't be shining right into the photo or the video. So I've got it so it's angled a little bit better. Let's see. I have some catching up to do. I don't remember when I did the last video, and I didn't check, but today is January the 5th, and it is Thursday, and it's just after 6 p.m. in the evening, so it's dark. And I have several things that I need to bring you up to date on. And then I will show you a few things that I've been stitching. And I haven't done an awful lot of stitching, and I'll be explaining that as we go along. First of all, I wanted to give you an update on my husband, Bob. As most of you know, he has Parkinson's. He was diagnosed 10 years ago. He has been on a very steady decline. And he especially started getting bad, say around in November, early November, late October. And, excuse me, I have this cough from a dry throat. And I hear so many people coughing, so I guess everybody's got it. All right, so he was on a steady decline. And had been working with the doctors, and then he reached a point one day where he really couldn't move his feet right, or any part of him right. And I had to get a neighbor come over and try to help me, and it was just impossible. It would take him like 10 minutes to move one step. It's like he was telling his feet what to do, but his feet just weren't moving. So I notified the doctor's office, and they told me that this was indicative of an infection, and so they told me take him to the ER right away. So I took him in, and here he had pneumonia, and it wasn't bad because he wasn't coughing or anything, but it did show that there was a white area in the lower part of one lung, and that it looked like he had pleural effusion, which from what I understand means there's fluid around the lung area. So he got antibiotics, and I gave him all of those, but he continually was just being so tired, and he was so weak, and it was getting more and more difficult to try to help him to do anything. And so we ended up going to the emergency room again for the pressure sores on his backside, and because he was just sitting so much. And then he just kept continually getting worse. And so finally, they wanted me to take him in for a swallow test, and I took him in to the other side of Cleveland to the VA, and he had the swallow test done. The speech pathologist wanted me to take him immediately to the emergency room and have him admitted for a feeding tube, because She felt that he did not pass the swallow test and that his pneumonia had probably been caused by aspiration, and because he was swallowing, just his swallowing was just terrible. And it was just before Christmas when over here in northern Ohio we had a horrible blizzard storm come through. Patches, she's want to stick her head up here. So there, look at the camera. You want to get up? No? Okay. She doesn't. She wants up here, but she doesn't want to look at you guys. So, anyways, I said no because that terrible storm was coming in a couple of days. This was the Wednesday before Christmas. And I said, I don't want him to be stuck on the east side of Cleveland and me way over in, where I live. And it would just be impossible for me to get there. So I told them no. Well, then his doctor called me that afternoon and said, you need to take him back to the Cleveland, to the emergency room and get him admitted. This test was bad. And I kept talking about the weather and everything. And, she said, well, if he doesn't get this done, then we're just going to have to put him in hospice and just not worry about it. Because she says, I'm sure he's going to get pneumonia and it could kill him. So I'm like, I was beside myself. I'm like, what do I do? So finally, she agreed to use the VA's community care where I could take him to a local hospital and the VA would cover it. So she says, I will call Mercy Health Center and our hospital, and I'll tell them that you're coming. Go to the emergency room. They will admit him to get a feeding tube. So I said, okay. So I went ahead and took him. I had to wait a little bit because I can't get him in and out of the car anymore. So I had to wait for his brother to come back. His brother had just gone home earlier. So I had to wait for him to come back. And so we took him up there and got him admitted into the hospital and took care of all that stuff. And of course, Bob was not happy. And so the next day they did a feeding tube. Unfortunately, it didn't go exactly where they wanted it to go. It went just into his stomach and coiled up, and they wanted it to go through his stomach and on. Yeah, it's called a J tube, where it'll go into the small intestine then. But they didn't have the right tubes for that. It didn't fit. So that was one botch thing. And of course, every time they botch something, Bob gets really upset. Then I don't know whether it was the next day or when, but then they put what they call an NG tube, one through the nose, down and into his stomach. That one they didn't, apparently, I wasn't there. That one they didn't do right or something. They had to take it right back out. Then they did another one like that. And they got it into the stomach, but not into the intestine. And he said it was just awful when they were doing this. So then they said, well, the next day they were going to, he was refusing it. And I said, well, can't you give him some sedative so that, he's not fully awake and doesn't know what's going on? And so finally they said, yeah, they do that because the surgeon was there. I was talking to her. Then the next day I come in and he has the tube in the nose and down, and he told me they didn't give him anything. They just did it. But I guess they did it with something called a fluoroscope or something where they could actually see where they were going with it and got it into the small intestine. So then he was receiving some tube feedings. Then the speech pathologist from that hospital came up and said that she wanted to try him on eating just some really soft, minced up food, and she wanted to see what happened when he was eating it. So they tried that, And she said she thought he could probably be on a soft minced diet and thickened liquids, because apparently you can swallow thickened liquids easier than just straight water or straight juice. And so they put him onto that. But all this time they were planning to schedule to go back with the one into the stomach. And the first time they did that, they did it in the gastroenterology department. And so we're waiting because it's Christmas and New Year's, and the doctors always take off between Christmas and New Year's. And so, as far as doctors went, they had like a skeleton crew of doctors. And so finally, yesterday, they took him down to special procedures, and a doctor used that fluoroscope again and went in, and they put the new tube down through the one that was already there. And then my understanding is then they placed everything they needed to place. Then they pulled the old tube out. And so, and they had taken the nose tube out, I think like the day before that. So as of today, when I was up there, he'd been in the hospital for just over 2 weeks. And they had been giving him some tube feedings and a little bit of food. And so when I left the hospital today, my brother-in-law was there, and he called me later when he got home, and he said, while I was there, he says, social worker came flying in the room, says he's going to Admiral's Point at 6 o'clock. And he says, I tried to tell her she needed to call you. And she says, well, you call her. And I'm like, geez. But I knew we'd been trying to get him into Admiral's Point. Originally, I wanted him to go for rehab. Then the VA said he doesn't qualify for rehab. He qualifies for long-term care because he's so bad. He's been bedridden for, these 2 weeks, other than when physical therapy comes and it takes two of them to get him up out of the bed, do some things with him, try to have him walk with the walker, and it's not a pretty sight because he is so weak. So VA says he needs to go in long-term care. And it's like I feel guilt because I feel like I should be able to take care of him. And I feel relief because these last 2 weeks that he has been in the hospital, I have actually had a couple of days where I'm not totally riddled in pain. I'm realizing now that I had no chance to try to recover from the stuff I've been going through because I just kept getting, muscles pulled again, my back jacked around because I'm trying to move him and lift him and help him and run up and down the steps. And I have realized that I can't do it anymore. And I think he has realized, I've told him that, and he's not fighting me about going to this nursing home. Well, anyways, I guess they were supposed to take him by ambulance over to that nursing home tonight at around 6, and it's 6:25 now. So I'm assuming that he's there. I called the nursing home and they said, I don't have to do anything today. I can just come tomorrow and do the paperwork. So that is my plan. I know a lot of people have been praying for him, and I appreciate that. And they've been praying for me, and I also appreciate that. And now I told you I hadn't been doing a whole heck of a lot of stitching, and I will tell you what's going on with that. I had my cataracts done at the end of June and 1st of July. And at first, my eyes were okay. I got new glasses, which were these, and I could see. All of a sudden, things started getting blurry, and they kept getting blurrier and blurrier. And I thought, well, maybe it's just the PMR, and I'll just wait a little while and see if it clears up. I was using artificial tears, um, and it wasn't getting better. It wasn't constant, but it was enough that it affected my stitching, and it was enough that it caused me some concern when I was driving. I could see to drive, but checking road signs and things like that were not so easy. And so I finally got into the eye doctor yesterday. And this is yesterday morning, and this is the uh, ophthalmologist who did the surgery for the cataracts. And I found out that I have something wrong with the capsula of both eyes. And apparently it's way in the back of the eye. I'd never even heard of a capsula. And apparently in about 20% of people who have their cataracts done, this blurriness comes anywhere from a month or little more to a year after you have the surgery. And it causes this capsula to become clouded over. And so in order to get your vision back the way it should be, they have to do laser eye surgery. So I have to go on the 16th of this month for the first eye, and then I have to go on the 23rd for the second eye. And what they do, I guess, is you put your face up to this, how they check when they're checking for glaucoma and stuff and pressure when they put that puff in your eye. Well, you got to put your chin up on the thing, and then they use a laser to go in there, and they put some numbing drops in your eye, and they use this laser, and they clear that cloudiness off of this capsula. It has a special name. What did I do with that paper that says what it's called? It's a YAG capsulotomy. Who knew? This is what it... Apparently, YAG is the name of the tool that they use, or the laser or something. I don't know. So anyways, I'm getting that done. And then they said my vision will be a little blurry for like a day or two after for each eye. And then after that, they said my vision should be good again. So let's cross our fingers and our toes and everything and hope that that's true. Now, I am stitching a little bit, but it isn't real easy and it's very slow. So one of the things, and I'm going to pause and pick these things up because I didn't bring them all over here. I was afraid I'd get everything all mixed up. So one of the things that I have been working on is, can't remember anything. There we go. You all know what it is. And I just did just a little bit of stitching on this, just to fill in a little bit. Now let me fold this back up. And I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to go over here and grab something else. Okay, I'm back. One of the things I've been working on was this Dimensions, the teacups. This is a little kit. And I'm not doing the background on this. What I did was I picked out a piece of, it came with white, and I picked out a piece of blue Ada, and thought I'd just skip that background. And here's where I am with this, a lot of threads hanging out. But there's where I've gotten. Most of the one cup done there in the middle, and then some of the cup underneath and some of the cup above. And then this one, I might as well take this out of the Q-snap. I've been working on this one, and I'm really close to a finish. And I just need to get these off. This is Home Sweet Home. And it is so close to a finish. I have some back stitching. I've done a lot of the back stitching, but I have some back stitching in there. You can see this cat needs some back stitching in there. The dog needs a little back stitching here. And these utensils on this side need a little back stitching. And then right up here, the sign, this will say Home Sweet Home. So there's not too much that I have to do. It's just that I just have to pick it up and work on it. And now I'm going to step over here and I'm going to get one more item. Okay, I'm back, and I'd have to pull down a bunch of threads. And this is Minnie Mount Cabin Home. And this is a Hade, Heaven and Earth Designs. And I plan to work on this one quite often this year so that I can make some major progress. I can't see if I've got it up there. Now you can see it. So if you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I've gotten quite a bit more done on this. I was working, let's see, where did I work? One over here. I'm going to fold this like this. And I was working all this up in here and then some down. And so it's getting there. I think it's, what was it, like 40% or something like that. Okay, so that's pretty much all that I have worked on. I am, now that I know for sure that Bob is going into the long-term care, and I'm trying to catch up on everything around this house that didn't get done when I was trying to care for him. And that is a whole lot. Dusting and cleaning and going through stuff and stuff that he won't be needing now, and just it's hard to go through stuff like that. It would be worse if he had passed away, but it's still hard when they're just not here now. And my granddaughter is still living here, thank God. I don't think that I could live in this house by myself. Bob and I have been married for 44 years, And we lived together for a while before that. And I just, I don't know. I suppose you can do whatever you have to do. But life isn't always easy. Believe me, this has been the last 2 years have been a really um, rough road to ride on. And I guess I just have to keep, well, I tell everybody when they ask me, how am I doing? How am I handling this? And I just always say 1 day at a time. And there have been some days where it's been 1 hour at a time or 1/4 hour at a time, whatever it took to get through. And I know there's a lot of you that have had trials and tribulations in your lives. And if you know anybody that's going through anything, it is not easy. But I hope to get my health back better now that I'm not having to race around like a chicken with its head cut off and be doing all the lifting and all the stuff that I was doing before. Hopefully, everything will become better for my health, and I will be able to go and visit Bob. Where he is heading is 15 minutes away from me. I requested that place. It is VA approved, so VA will take care of that cost. And that way, the other place where he was at before, it's like a half hour from my house, and it was through a very heavily trafficked area. And where he's going to now is, like I said, 15 minutes away, and it is very easy to get to. It's just, I can go up here, get on Route 2, which is a 4-lane divided highway, and I can get on that, go up a couple of exits, and get off, and it's just not too far down and around the corner. So hopefully this will be a nice place. I have never been there. I have no clue what their rooms look like or anything else, but I will find out, and we will go from there. So I'm going to let y'all go instead of just keep yakking. If anybody has any questions about all this stuff, because you have a family member that is going through stuff like this, feel free in your comments to ask, and if I can answer it, I will. And again, thank you for prayers and good thoughts and all that stuff. I have a friend that I would ask that you also pray for. She is older than me, and I think right around 80. And she went in to have a heart stent put in a couple of months ago, and they nicked her aorta. And she had to be life flighted into Cleveland to Cleveland Clinic. They told her husband she had a 30% survival chance. And she did pull through, and she came home from Cleveland Clinic. I believe he told me last Friday. So she's been home close to a week. And she's tired, but she's doing well. And I'd ask for prayers for her continued success with everything that's going on, and prayers for her husband too. He had to be driving back and forth to Cleveland all the time. Not fun. Believe me, it's not fun. So here I go. I'm just rattling on. Last video I did, I read all the comments. I just did not have I don't want to say I didn't have time, because there were times where I could have done it. I just there were times where I just sat in a chair and just closed my eyes or stared into space or something like that, because I just couldn't handle everything that was happening. So I apologize for not going in and hearting those, but please know that I did read them, and I do appreciate each and, what do I want to say, every single one of you that watch the videos, that like the videos, that comment on the videos, and subscribe to the videos. It means a lot to me. And hopefully, sometime soon, I will be able to dig out some items from upstairs and finally finish some items. Have some FFOs instead of just finished objects. So that's it for now. Love you all. Sending hugs to all. And I hope everybody has a wonderful new year. So y'all take care. Bye-bye.